Good morning. It's 11:27 a.m. on Saturday, January 4th, 2020. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I've been up for a little while. I've just been being lazy. This is 5 more minutes. Been, lazing around, not wanting to do anything. Just scrolling on Twitter, browsing the internet, instead of recording the video because it's such a trial, really, to sit here in front of a camera for 5 minutes, honestly. I hope you all appreciate the sort of sacrifices no. So, over the last couple of days, I saw a couple of movies I could tell you about. I went to see Jojo Rabbit, finally, which was still playing in one nearby theater. And I like it. I think that because of the subject matter, if you're not familiar at all with the movie, the basic concept is that we have a little boy whose imaginary friend is Adolf Hitler. And the context for that is that he is a little boy in Germany towards the end of the war, and he has been told his whole life by all of the propaganda around him that he should look up to and admire Adolf Hitler, and the movie is about him coming to change that position, so to speak. But it is still like a comedy, like a kid's coming-of-age comedy. It's done by Taika Waititi, and I think the subject matter is such that it's probably never going to be entirely immune to criticism. Like, I think there are going to be people who could reasonably take the position that that stuff is just plain not funny. Like, I think that that's a fair position to take. I don't know that I entirely share it, but I think it's certainly something that can be recognized with value whenever you talk about something like this. But that said, if you can approach the subject matter from the perspective of being able to find some humor in and around all of the horror that happened, then yeah, it's very funny, and it's got a sweet movie, and in a lot of ways, we could ask the question, like, why tell this story now? And I think it's because we're drawing a lot of parallels between, current events and how people, especially kids, can be drawn in by propaganda and, being told who they should hate and so on. It's like, yeah, I mean, and those are the themes from today that this story explores. And also, like, some of the things that I kind of expected to be maybe more cliche about, like, well, the classic tropey version of telling this story of, well, he thinks the Jews are monsters because that's what he's always been told, but then he's going to meet one and he's going to see, and it actually takes that whole sort of plot line in some surprising directions. It's Taika Waititi makes good movies, and so I really liked it. I recommend it. I think it handles the whole thing pretty well, given that it's obviously transgressive subject matter. I think it's certainly reasonable that some people will think that there's just not room for a comedy about it, and I think that that's an opinion that can be respected. But I also think that it was a good movie. And then last night I watched Attack the Block, which is a movie back from 2011, I think, something like that, where it is a British movie about aliens attacking London, and it's got a tagline of inner city versus outer space, because most of the main characters are like a gang of sort of teenage kids who live in a poor part of town, they have to deal with these monsters from outer space attacking, and it has a lot of interesting influences going in there, like There's a lot of it that feels very much like the Goonies, which is a very big plus in my book. The monsters have a cool design to them. It's very funny. It is R-rated, so like, you know, it's one of those things where we could say, yeah, it's like the Goonies, except for like, well, the kids are not necessarily safe because it's rated R, and and it's pretty funny. It's got John Boyega in it, you know, pre Star Wars John Boyega, and yeah, it's cool. I liked it. All right, so I'm gonna go back to being lazy now. Although I did play a little bit of Death Stranding on Twitch last night, so I might make that video version available on YouTube. If anyone wants to see what a little bit more mid-game version, you know, mid-game iteration of what Death Stranding is all about, you could watch that video. And then, of course, I've got some, you know, role-playing games that I'm running this weekend, and just going to hang out. So I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes. Tomorrow is Sunday, which of course means I'll be continuing my rewatch of Cowboy Bebop with the episode Bohemian Rhapsody. So tomorrow for 5 more minutes.